What's up guys, Mickle here, and I have an absolute fire video for you today. I believe we now fully understand what the SEC was trying to do when they did a 180-degree turn on their opinion on whether or not Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass emails were SEC guided or his personal opinion. For a while now, it looked like the SEC made a huge mistake in this case by flip-flopping between these 2 points, but I believe we now have full proof of what the SEC was trying to do here, and it is absolutely fascinating. You guys are not going to want to miss this. Guys, Attorney Fred put out a tweet thread on Twitter, and it absolutely blew my mind. By the end of this video, you guys are going to fully understand how much power Ripple currently has in this case and how bad of a position the SEC is currently in. I'm going to break it all down for you guys, make it super easy, but this is one of the best understandings I have had of this case to date, and you guys are definitely going to want to see how massive this is. Like always guys, make sure if you enjoy content like this, you hit the like and subscribe button down below. It goes such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. If you guys are ever looking for a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out the link in the description below. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, to show you what's going on here, I want to take you through exactly how I figured this out, because I think it's going to give you guys such a better understanding of what the SEC is trying to do here. And guys, this is fascinating. I could not believe it when I put this together, and a huge shout out to Attorney Fred here, because he really did a lot of the heavy lifting in helping me understand exactly how this was being played out, and I could not believe it. So it all started out when I saw this narrative developing on Twitter just a couple of days ago, and it actually came from a tweet thread Attorney Fred put out. It was originally put out by Finance Feeds. It said, "The danger option for Ripple is if NetBurn allows the SEC a do-over in the sense that she forces it to choose once and for all whether Hinman's speech was his personal opinion or on behalf of the SEC." So this is actually something Attorney Fred raised a couple days ago when he first found out that this in-person meeting was going to happen, but said he thought it was a pretty low probability that the judge allows them to do this do-over. So essentially what this do-over would be allowing the SEC to once again pivot on whether or not Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech was his personal opinion or SEC guided. We know that the SEC started out by saying it was all his personal opinion and then switched to saying it was SEC guided. Now the court originally shut them down on trying to switch, but Fred right here is proposing the possibility that the court could, in a very low scenario option, actually allow them to do this switch. So you might be wondering, why would the court allow them to do this switch? We're going to cover that, but the more important thing that I think we need to be focusing on is why would the SEC want to do that switch? And this was something I actually could not get my head around. I was thinking about it and I said, I think this is actually worse for them if they do this switch. So I asked Fred, I said, Fred, assuming the SEC can do a 180, isn't this a huge issue for them? How can they possibly create a distinction between Ethereum and XRP? And the reason I proposed this question to Fred is because currently the court is interpreting Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech as his personal opinion. That means it wasn't SEC guided, and that means the SEC never actually declared Ethereum a non-security. But if the SEC was allowed to do a 180, suddenly Ethereum was declared a non-security by the SEC, and then the SEC needs to provide reasoning on why Ethereum is not a security and XRP should be. Now, this would be absolutely disastrous for the SEC because we know that Ethereum is so much more of a security than XRP ever has been in its history. So this would completely completely destroy the SEC's case, and that's where I got really confused. I was thinking, Fred, why would the SEC ever do this? They would be tanking their own case by saying that the speech was actually SEC guided. Well, it was Fred's response to that that made everything click for me. And make sure you stick around because I have a diagram that's going to make this crystal clear for you guys. He said, yes, which is why the SEC went the personal opinion route the first time, but then when that blew up in their face, they tried to audible. And that's because for the SEC, instead of losing the fair notice defense and even potentially whether XRP is a security, they would rather admit both of those, then reveal the emails and said, imagine what those emails reveal. And boom, that's when everything clicked for me and the SEC's strategy suddenly made sense. I responded to Fred, so they are so desperate to hide the corruption, they are willing to give XRP clarity to get out of this mess. And let me show you a diagram of exactly what the SEC tried to do here because it's going to make everything crystal clear for you guys. Right here, I drew it out, and you guys are gonna now suddenly understand what the SEC was doing when they were trying to flip-flop between whether or not the Ethereum free pass speech by Bill Hinman was SEC guided or his personal opinion. So it's very clear now, I think I've said it a million times, the SEC had two options on the Ethereum free pass speech. They could either say it was Bill Hinman's personal opinion, or they could say it was SEC guided. Now, I already explained to you guys that if they said the speech was SEC guided, it would have been catastrophic. And that's because if it was SEC guided, that means the SEC does not consider Ethereum a security. And therefore, they would need to provide logic on why Ethereum is not a security and XRP should be. We know this would be an automatic loss for the SEC. This comparison is not possible because based on the own guidelines of the SEC, Ethereum is so much more of a security than XRP ever has been. So this is a last resort for the SEC. This is something they did not want to do. So what was the other option they took, which was also a bad option, but the option they had to take? The other option was to say it was all Bill Hinman's personal opinion. If it was his personal opinion, they knew the ETH docs were going to come into play, and that's because if it was all Hinman's personal opinion, well, Ripple has the right to know, why was this SEC official running around giving his personal opinion while working at the SEC? But the SEC was willing to take the gamble that the court would not actually force them to turn over the Ethereum documents, or that they could redact the Ethereum documents to such a high degree that they could still get away with handing them over without exposing their own corruption. So they went down option one first and hoped they would not have to hand over the Ethereum docs. If they were able to get away with this, there is a chance they could have pulled this off and won. But so far, the court has rejected the idea that the SEC should not have to hand over the Ethereum free pass emails to Ripple. The court has actually ruled now multiple times that the SEC does have to hand over those documents to Ripple. And this is when the SEC started to panic. They realized if they hand over these documents to Ripple, they are going to expose their own agency corruption and lose the case. So now not only are they going to lose the case, but they're suddenly going to expose everything that was going on at the SEC, and this is the last thing they wanted to do. So now they are desperately trying to pivot their argument. They're trying to now say that the speech was SEC guided and accept the fact that they're going to lose the case. But if they are allowed to pivot on this argument, at least they won't have to expose their corruption. They know they cannot prove that Ethereum is not a security and XRP is. Their own guidelines say that's not true. This is a losing argument, but it's a risk they're willing to take to not expose their own corruption. And this is all what I was able to put together, what I was able to draw out for you. But if you take a look at the tweet thread Fred actually put together, he actually goes through the Bill Hinman deposition and points to proof of the SEC actually perfectly sculpting Bill Hinman's deposition so they would be allowed to do this one 180. The SEC knew they would lose with option 2 and knew option 1 was extremely risky because they could end up exposing their own agency's corruption. They went for the risk. They went with option 1 because option 2 was an auto loss. Option 1 had the slight possibility of a win, but now are getting rejected hardcore on the only positive option out of option 1 and are now ending up with the worst case scenario of all the options. They are trying to desperately pivot to option 2 because they have already accepted the fact that XRP will not be declared a security. Now they're simply trying to get away with not exposing their own corruption. And now I want to read you this tweet by the Digital Dodo because I think you guys are really gonna understand what's going on here. He tweeted out, "Interesting, isn't it? Spent 12 months of effort hiding these emails and almost zero trying to discuss the legal definition of a security and how it applies to digital assets in an almost century-old test that could never have imagined a non-physical asset." Guys, there is a reason the SEC has spent the last 12 months trying to not hand over these emails rather than spending the time trying to prove to the court that XRP, by their definition, is a security. The SEC brought this case and are now on defense. They are trying not to expose their own corruption, and that's why this next hearing is going to be absolutely fascinating. I cannot wait to see what happens. The SEC is stuck in full-on panic mode. They have no idea what to do. Their current argument as it stands is a mess, and it is going to be fascinating to see what takes place next Tuesday and how the SEC is going to try to get out of this. Now, it's very important to point out we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know if the SEC is going to be allowed to pivot. We don't know if they're going to be shut down, but either way, there's now no doubt in my mind that this was their strategy. This is how everything is played out, and this is absolutely fascinating. We now have so much more insight into what's going on here and how bad of a position the SEC is currently in. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. Make sure to like and subscribe. It means so much to help this channel grow. And for now, Mickle out.